An ecosystem is a biological community of interacting organisms and their physical environment. Or in other words, it's life. And I'm going to give you an in-depth guide of how to make one in a jar. Make sure to stick around. First, I started with the jar. I got mine at a second-hand shop for around $2. But you can use any jar, of course. I then added a drainage layer. It's a place for excess water to sit in the jar. Just sitting in substrate would make the water turn stagnant, quickly leading to the terrarium's death. But you can get away with just using substrate if the jar is less than 200 milliliters. I used pea gravel, but you can use leca or other small rocks for the drainage layer. It's now time to add the substrate barrier. It keeps the substrate from getting into the drainage layer, while still allowing water to get through. I use screen mesh, but you can use something else that does the same job. It's alright if the substrate barrier's a little big. You can just press it down with something afterwards. After that, we add the substrate. I'll put my mix on screen. There's many other great mixes out there too, though. I made a little bit of a mess. Sloping the substrate up to the back really makes the jar appear to have a lot more depth. I gave the jar a light spray down so that the substrate would stay in place. It's now time for the hardscape. These tweezers really come in handy for this stuff. I'll put a link to similar ones in the description. I kinda just put the hardscape wherever feels natural to me. You can get cool hardscape at your local pet shop, but an easier and cheaper way is just to get them outside. That's where I get most of my hardscape. This point is when I really thought this ecosystem was coming together. But now it's time to add the moss. I started by adding this moss. I'm pretty sure it's thread moss, but I'm not completely sure. I get most of my moss from outside. It's good to have different variations of moss in your ecosystem. It just makes it look a tad more natural. I trimmed the roots of some of the mosses that I use so that they sit lower. This won't kill the moss. I placed it in along with more moss that I think is the same species. I took this rock out for a bit because it was getting in the way. I put moss in every crevice I didn't get. I put the rock back. and added another. For more detail, I broke up a stick to put it in the jar. While you're here, why not consider liking and subscribing? I now had the desired pieces. I decided to take this rock out. I super glued the wood hardscape together so that it would stay in place. I then moved it to the desired location. I added another rock in between the two big rocks. I did this to make it look like there are roots branching out of the crevices of the rocks. For more detail, I added another piece. I then crushed up a leaf so that I could use pieces of it for the leaf litter. I decided to take this rock out so that I could crush it into pieces to place around the ecosystem. Now it was perfect. When I was finished placing down the rock pieces, I decided to add the leaf litter. The leaf litter isn't necessary, but it's beneficial for the ecosystem. The leaf litter also makes it look more natural in there. Just for a little more detail, I added another botanical. After that, I gave the ecosystem a heavy spray down. And of course, it wouldn't be an ecosystem without the springtails. You can usually find these at your local pet shop. I then added them to the jar. I put on the lid and I was done. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something. And I hope this video gets you making your own ecosystems.